Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to talk about Lorcana's second Illumineer's quest, Palace Heist. This comes on the heels of the Ursula Illumineer's quest that did not get the best reviews, myself included. It was overly difficult. It did not have a lot of variety. It was basically a race to 20 or 40, 20 for you, 40 for Ursula lore, and it became very overwhelming. It did not really feel like it was simulating anywhere close to playing another player. So anyways, here now we have Jafar. So I talked about some of these things in my unboxing. Right out of the box, this seemed very promising. We had an upgraded board here. This was like a paper mat in the Ursula's version. And we got little deck boxes included to hold the included decks. So it came with 2 decks so you could play cooperatively, and then Jafar's deck. So some nice touches are like the reforged crown here. This is nice sturdy cardboard because you're passing it around a lot. There's a lot of decent touches that seemed like, all right, they've made some upgrades. Even just the box, the fact that it comes in a normal size box, an actual box that you can store it away in, and not the kind of throwaway, whatever you want to call it, mailer type of style that Ursula was in. Now, let's talk about the game. If you're not familiar with Lorcana, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to take cards from your hand, and if they have this little swirly symbol at the top, you can choose 1 per turn to ink them. That becomes your purchasing power to spend then on cards out of your hand. So this one would cost 2 ink. You don't lose the ink when you spend it, but you kind of exert it. You put it off to the side. So you have to build up your ink storage in order to play the higher cards. For example, Rhino here was played later in the game. He's for 6, but also he can't be inked. So you either hold him in your hand for a while or you get lucky and draw him later on in the game. The idea is that you can either take your character to challenge, which is where they use their attack power. That would be this number. And any other power that's a person that's attacking back would attack them, and this is their kind of health or their defense. So 4 and 7, that's pretty good stats. Rhino, of course, is a 6 cost card. Or you can quest with them, which is you just turn them sideways to gain the amount of lore listed on the side of the card here, in this case 2. In a standard game, first person to 20 wins the game. So it becomes a battle of keeping control over your player side of the board control, while still pushing up to 20. You can't just be challenging all the time. And then there's characters like Bolt here, who's really worthless at challenging. He's a 0-4, but he quests for 4 at a time. So big numbers there. Anybody that either challenges or quests on their turn is exerted, turned sideways. That means they are a target for the opposing player on their turn. So if I choose to do nothing with Rhino here, he can't be targeted. But if I choose to quest or attack with him, challenge with him, then he's vulnerable for an attack on the other player's turn. That's very crude basics for Lorcana. Let's bring in now Jafar. And Jafar works very similar to how Ursula played. So if you're familiar with how the Ursula Illumineer's quest went, this should all seem very familiar to you. The biggest difference is that Jafar is going to have the reforged crown. This is what we're kind of fighting over. And he starts the game with it. It's going to sit up here. And whoever has the reforged crown at the beginning of their turn gets an automatic 2 lore. And then he is going to draw cards into his hand, a virtual hand, or literally just a hand that he holds onto cards for a few seconds. Starting on easy, he gets 2 cards, and then when he gets halfway, half his lore, he jumps up to 3. Now, difficulty changes how many cards he draws, but basically what he does is he just takes the top 2 cards off of here, and he flips the first one over. Now, this one here is a really beefy card. It's a 7 cost card. Well, at the beginning of the game, he'll have no ink. So if he can't afford to buy this card, he'll simply turn it into ink. He can break the rules. He can ink more cards per turn than anybody else. And say Jasmine here also wouldn't be able to afford on the first round. So now he's got 2 ink. If in the future he flips over a card that only costs 2, he's got 2 in his reserve, he would be able to play it. And so eventually, you can see here, I left the game up specifically at this point, so you guys can kind of see, this is, I chose to save my opinions on this video until I was finally able to defeat it. And I wanted you guys to see the state of the board in which I was finally successful in beating Jafar. And so that's why everything kind of looks set up in mid-game, because I was actually finally, after my 6th try, successful against Jafar. You can see I really held him down on lore, so he never got to the point where he was drawing 3 cards. I obviously kept locations at bay. I had the Reforged Crown. If you're interested in strategy, basically it's all about board control. It is getting these guys clear as quickly as possible while not losing your characters, not just going toe-to-toe and saying, all right, I'm going to sacrifice this character. But, you know, keeping the Reforged Crown, clearing these characters out as quickly as possible, keeping the locations down. That's the name of the game. There really is no other strategy for Jafar. Some key cards that have come up and been very successful, helped me become successful finally. One is this item, the Amber Chromacon. It allows me to remove up to 1 damage from each of your characters. It doesn't cost anything. Once you've played it, you just exert it and you get to use it once. So that helped me use characters like Zipper and Stitch here, who are very good at... Stitch gave me a lore and a card draw every time he defeated somebody. And the Amber Chromacon allowed me to kind of use him, let him sit for a little while. This healed him up over a couple rounds. Also, Goofy, which is one of the kind of key cards, I guess. He's the shiny card on the cover of the box. He is crucial because he, without even exerting himself, can, at the end of the round, remove up to 1 damage from each of your other characters and then ready those characters who remove damage this way. That means they're not exerted. And sometimes Jafar targets cards that are exerted. So he definitely swoops in and kind of rescues people and makes it so they can't be targeted. And then finally, Rhino here, he gives everybody +2 defense or +2 health, everybody else on the board. So these 3 cards right here were very critical to me winning the game. Other than that, it was just kind of keeping a good amount of characters up here, able to take out locations, able to take out people as necessary. And last but not least, it's using the battleground abilities that are listed here. So on easy, not only do all of Jafar's characters enter play exerted, which means I can attack them immediately, I could also spend 1, 2, or 3 lore to respectively gain resist +1. Another chosen Illumineer gains 2 lore, which is pointless in a solo game, and deals 5 damage to chosen character. This right here is crucial. Spending these 3, allowing yourself to build up and then kick back down to take out characters without having to lose one of your character. It's a benefit that's not in these battleground abilities, will never be found in a standard multiplayer game. But without using them, you're never going to win. All right. So now you understand kind of where I am coming from here. I played the Ursula one extensively. I've played lots of Lorcana. I kind of soured on Lorcana after the Ursula one, but decided to come back and give this one a chance. Seemed like maybe they would correct their mistakes. Short answer is they did not. Unfortunately, this game is still the Palace Heist, the Illumineer's Quest, is still incredibly difficult. It took me 6 tries. As a person who is familiar with Lorcana, has played the other Illumineer's quests, understands how you kind of need to change your game to defeat this versus just a standard multiplayer, and even playing on easy. It still took me 6 games to win on easy. Now, granted, I am playing with the included deck that came in the box, which is not the best deck in the world, but you would think that a veteran to Lorcana would be able to defeat the game on easy in quicker than 6 tries. Now let's talk about why is this so hard? Well, first of all, Jafar ramps up super quickly. It takes him almost no time to have, say 4 lore or 4 ink in his inkwell, and he can play 75% of his cards with 4 ink. Basically, in this one, not only did I, have the right cards come out for me, I got the right cards coming out for him. That means early on, he had really nasty cards that came out he couldn't play, and he had to ink them. Locations didn't get flooded in where I had multiples to deal with any one time. So a lot of luck is involved in just being successful on easy. That shouldn't be the case. I should have plowed through easy on my first one and then switched over to medium or hard. The battleground abilities, again, are essential to defeating the game, but even on easy, they're not that great. One of them here, and this is the only official way to play the game solo, but one of them here is completely useless for solo. Spend 2 to give another Illumineer 2 is basically just like trading lore. I'm going to take 2 away from me so you can have 2. I guess you're going to set them up to be able to use a battleground effect in the future, but there's also plenty of there's like 3 or 4 cards in here in Jafar's deck that don't even allow you to use these, and they become completely worthless. So I was really not impressed with the battleground abilities, and just the fact that the only kind of bonus you get for playing on easy was that characters for Jafar came in exerted, and I was able to tackle them immediately. My biggest gripe, however, is the lack of variety in Jafar's cards. There are some actions, there are some items, and there are some locations which for him are called obstacles, and you have to defeat before you can claim the Reforged Crown. You cannot steal the Reforged Crown if there's obstacles in the way. All of his characters, though, do nothing but quest. So if you don't keep the board clear, he's just going to zoom up to 40. He eventually will very easily steal the Reforged Crown back by simply playing the right card, and he wins the game. You have to keep fighting to keep that crown, get that crown back, keeping locations down, keeping characters down so he doesn't race up. When he gets to halfway, he even becomes flooding the board even more. I want to point something out here. In the rule book, it says, resolve the row. So that means after you've done start of turn effects and you've like unexerted his cards, you're going to go left to right. It says, if an item has an ability with an exert cost, Jafar exerts the cost and uses the ability. Okay, done. If a character can quest, they do exert them as usual. That would basically mean any character with lore can quest. Okay, he can quest. That's a location. He can quest. That's an action. Genie can quest for 2 even. You get my point. All these characters would just simply do nothing but go boom, boom, boom. And that's 4 quest right there. Then we're going down the rule book here. And then it says, if a character can't quest and has reckless. Normally a character with reckless would not have any lore here. There's no point in them questing. They're always going to want to challenge. That's why they're reckless. It says, if they're reckless, they challenge. The Illumineers choose a character of theirs that can be challenged as the defender, and the challenge proceeds normally. Otherwise, the character does nothing. So if I had no characters on the board, basically they wouldn't have anybody to challenge. If I have multiple characters, then I get to choose. It's in the rulebook, right? So you would think that there is at least one card in Jafar's deck that would have the keyword reckless. You would think that, right? Nope. Not a one. Not a single effing card in this deck contains the keyword reckless. Why in the world is it in the rule book if there is no card in the deck that fits that criteria? And that is my biggest issue with the game. The same thing happened with Ursula. It was even mentioned in the rulebook again that if the keyword reckless is there, they would attack, but there was not a single card in Ursula's deck that used the keyword reckless. So basically Jafar's thing, his strategy, is to flood out people here who are just going to quest like crazy and have very high stats for their cost, throw up obstacles in your way, and steal the crown back as often as possible. It doesn't make for a very fun game at the end of the day. There is no point in me ever having a card in my deck with the keyword bodyguard. that I would want to have out there to be a shield to soak up damage to protect the other ones. Why? Because Jafar is never going to use his characters to attack me directly, to challenge me directly. So he could care less if I fill up my board with characters. He's just going to continue going about his business of questing like crazy, stealing back the Reforged Crown, and throwing obstacles in my way. I do not understand why Ravensburger failed again. It appears to me that they did not even edit the rule book. They just simply went through and changed all of the words Ursula to Jafar and all of the words Under the Sea to Palace Heist, and boom, I'm done. The only thing that has changed between the two is this Reforged Crown and the rules that it states that you have to jump back and forth. Otherwise, they basically have made a carbon copy of Ursula with Jafar. The game lacks variety. It lacks any bit of, ingenuity on the fact of the designers. And the fact that there is the keyword reckless in the rulebook and explains what to do when that keyword comes up, but there is not a single card in the deck with that rulebook, just shows that they are mailing it in. And that's what this feels like. This feels like an attempt to just mail it in. And now I know there's going to be plenty of people out there who are going to make the comment that this is meant to be a TCG. It is a multiplayer game. It's meant to be played head to head. I get all that. Then why even bother? If this truly is meant to be just a TCG game and there's no point in allowing people to test out decks, or if they can't get a game group together, or, heaven forbid, some kind of pandemic strikes again and you're trapped in your house, whatever it may be, heaven forbid people be allowed to play Lorcana solo. But why even bother? If you truly just want this to be a multiplayer game, leave this crap out. This has been another disappointment. I seriously doubt I will give the next Illumineer's Quest, if there is one, any shot unless I have seen reviews that it has been completely changed. But I'm not going to put that on me to go buy the box and check it out and give you guys my review, because I've lost all faith in the designers of Ravensburger. It's not like I can go through and change Jafar's deck. All right, Jafar, the backs of the cards are unique to Jafar. They are designed in a way that these cards cannot be used in a multiplayer game. They are solely for playing against Jafar, and the deck cannot be adjusted, cannot be changed. I can't add in a reckless card if I want to. I could go in and draw on some of these cards and actually change the keywords to reckless, which maybe I'll do. Because it's just disgusting to me that they couldn't even include 2 cards in the deck with the keyword reckless. It baffles me. So at the end of the day, my advice to you is this is going to be a hard no. There are fan-made varieties on BGG for how to play the game solo using just a standard deck versus a standard deck. There are ways to figure it out. If you're just wanting to test a deck, you could even play two-handed. There are better ways to do it if you're wanting to experience Lorcana solo. Not this way. The fact that it is so hard on easy, no variety, and at the end of the day, focusing on the lack of variety in the battleground abilities and the card types just shows that Ravensburger is mailing it in. So I'm cannot in good faith suggest this game, this expansion. Lorcana is a great game. It's a fun game. It's a fun game to play multiplayer as a TCG, especially if you like Disney. But these Illumineer's quests are a freaking joke. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys. A hard no. So, anyways, if you have other thoughts, other opinions, if you feel like your experience with the Illumineer's Quest has been different, if you feel like easy was too easy and you're already up there playing on extreme difficulty, by all means, let me know what your secret is. Again, this is with the included deck. because I felt like that was the most important. And yes, I could go build a deck specifically designed to take out obstacles as quickly, you know, locations as quickly as possible, and clear the board and zoom up to 20 lore. But that's not what this product gave me. So anyways, I feel like I'm beginning to ramble. I'm getting heated. So we're going to stop it there. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.